Welcome to Read and Learn English. Are you ready to hear the incredible story of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson? From a poor boy struggling in school to a world-famous wrestler, actor, and businessman, his journey is full of motivation, lessons, and inspiration. In this video, you will learn how he faced failure, trained his mind and body, and became one of the most loved stars in the world. If you are learning English, this story is perfect for you. We will read it slowly, in simple A1 to A2 English, so you can follow along easily. You will improve your vocabulary, pronunciation, and understanding while discovering life-changing lessons. Imagine learning English while feeling inspired by someone who never gave up. This is your chance. You will hear about his struggles in school, his dream of playing professional football, the heartbreak of failure, and how he turned everything around with wrestling and hard work. You will see how positivity, discipline, and courage helped him become a global icon. So, if you want to learn English, feel motivated, and discover the secret behind The Rock's success, this story is for you. Grab your notebook, get ready to repeat words, and let's explore the amazing life of a boy who became a legend. Stay with us until the end. You won't believe how his story can change your life too. A boy with big dreams. Dwayne Johnson was born into a family that did not have much money. His father was a wrestler, and his mother worked hard to care for the family. But even with their efforts, life was not easy. Sometimes they had money for rent, and sometimes they did not. Sometimes they had food, and sometimes it was difficult. As a young boy, Dwayne often saw his parents worry about bills and about how they could take care of him. Life became harder because the family moved many times. Dwayne was never in one place for long. Just when he made new friends, he had to say goodbye. Just when he felt safe, his family packed up again. For a young boy, this was painful. He wanted to feel at home, but home always seemed to change. One time, the family did not have enough money to pay the rent. They were forced to leave their apartment. Dwayne was only a little boy, but he still remembers this moment. He saw his mother cry, and he felt small and powerless. He wanted to help, but he was only a child. At that moment, Dwayne promised himself something. He said, "One day I will be strong. One day I will succeed. One day I will take care of my family." This promise became a dream. It was not an easy dream. Life continued to test him. In school, he was often the new kid. He was big in size, but inside he felt lonely. Many times he walked into class and people looked at him like a stranger. He wanted to belong, but he felt different. Still, inside his heart, that dream stayed alive. He wanted more from life. Dwayne looked up to his father, who was strong and powerful in the wrestling ring. He thought, if my father can fight in front of thousands of people, maybe I can also be strong. He also thought of his mother, who never gave up, no matter how hard things became. These two people gave him courage. Every night, when Dwayne lay in bed, he imagined a better future. He saw himself strong, smiling, and successful. He imagined himself standing tall, with people cheering for him. These dreams gave him hope when reality felt dark. The truth was simple. His life was hard, but his dreams were bigger than the pain. Sometimes he made mistakes. Sometimes he felt angry and frustrated. But he learned something important. When life pushes you down, you have two choices. You can stay down, or you can stand up again. Even as a boy, Dwayne wanted to stand up. What makes this story powerful is not that Dwayne was born strong or rich. He was not. What makes it powerful is that even in poverty, even in sadness, even in loneliness, he decided to dream. He decided not to let his environment decide his future. He decided that one day he would change his life. And here is the lesson for you. Maybe your life is not easy today. Maybe you also face problems with money, with family, or with school. Maybe you feel that you are always the stranger, always moving, always trying to find your place. But like Dwayne, you can also dream. You can carry inside you a vision of a better tomorrow. The boy who had nothing dared to dream of everything. He dreamed of strength. He dreamed of success. He dreamed of lifting his family from struggle. And little by little, step by step, he began to build that dream into reality. This is the beginning of Dwayne's story. A poor boy with a big dream. A boy who saw his mother cry, who felt lost in the world, but who refused to give up. His story teaches us one simple truth. Your dreams can be bigger than your problems. The next chapter will show what happened when young Dwayne entered school. Life tested him again, but he continued to hold on to his dream. His journey was only starting. The struggle in school. When Dwayne was a young boy, school was not easy for him. He moved many times with his family, so he was always the new student in class. Each time he entered a new school, he had to start again. New teachers, new classmates, new rules. While other children felt at home, Dwayne felt like a stranger. His size made him stand out. He was bigger than most children, but inside he felt small. Some classmates laughed at him. Some teachers did not understand him. He often felt that he did not belong. In those moments, the boy with big dreams began to doubt himself. Sometimes the pain of feeling different made him angry. At school, he got into trouble. He argued with teachers. He fought with other students. He wanted respect, but he did not know how to find it. His anger was like a storm, and sometimes the storm pushed him in the wrong direction. There were times when he was sent to the school office for bad behavior. The teachers warned him that if he continued this way, he would fail. At home, his mother worried. She wanted her son to have a better life, but she saw the trouble he was creating. Dwayne also worried. Deep inside, he did not want to be a bad boy. He wanted to be strong and successful, not angry and lost. One day, after another fight in school, Dwayne sat alone and thought about his life. He remembered the promise he made as a child, to be strong, to take care of his family, to succeed. He realized that fighting and breaking rules would not take him closer to that dream. It would only push him farther away. From that moment, he tried to change. It was not easy. Each day was a test. Some days he succeeded, and some days he failed. But he learned something important. Success is not about never falling down. Success is about standing up each time you fall. He began to listen more to his teachers. He began to respect his classmates, even when they did not respect him. Slowly, he started to control his anger. He discovered that strength was not only in muscles. True strength was in the mind and in the heart. One teacher noticed his effort and spoke kindly to him. The teacher said, "Dwayne, you have something special inside you. You can do great things if you choose the right path." Those words stayed with him. For the first time, he began to believe that maybe school could be a place to grow not just a place of trouble. Still, the road was not smooth. There were days when he felt like giving up. There were moments when old habits tried to pull him back. But each time he remembered his dream. He remembered the tears of his mother and the struggles of his father. He told himself, "I must not quit. I must keep going." This fight inside school became a lesson for life. He learned that people will not always understand you. They may judge you, they may laugh at you, and they may even push you down. But if you stay focused, if you choose not to quit, you can rise above all of it. Dwayne began to see school not as a prison, but as training. Just like an athlete trains his body, Dwayne was training his character. Each time he controlled his anger, he became stronger inside. Each time he chose respect instead of fighting, he built a new kind of power. Looking back, Dwayne often said that those school years were some of the hardest times in his life, but they were also the years that shaped him. They taught him to fight, not with fists, but with patience and determination. They taught him that every challenge could be a lesson if you refuse to give up. The boy who once felt lost in the classroom began to grow into a young man who carried his dream forward. He was not perfect. He still made mistakes. But now he understood that mistakes do not have to end your journey. They can teach you how to walk stronger. And this is the lesson for us. Life will bring problems. School, work, family, everywhere there will be tests. Sometimes you will fall. Sometimes you will feel lost. But like Dwayne, you must rise again. You must keep going. Because the dream in your heart is bigger than the trouble in your way. The story of Dwayne's school years shows us that the road to success is never smooth. It is full of pain, full of lessons, and full of chances to give up. But he did not quit, and that is why he became the man we know today. In the next chapter, we will see how sports entered his life. We will see how he found a place where his strength could shine, and how football gave him a new chance to chase his dream. A love for sports. As Dwayne grew older, life slowly began to change. School was still difficult, but he found something that gave him new energy and hope. That something was sports. For the first time, he discovered a place where his size, his strength, and his passion could be used in a positive way. Football became his world. When he stepped onto the field, he no longer felt like the boy who was always in trouble or the new kid in class. On the field, he felt powerful, alive, and free. The game gave him confidence. It gave him a reason to wake up early, to train hard, and to believe in himself. At first, he was not perfect. He made mistakes in practice. He was not the fastest player, and sometimes he did not understand the rules. But he had something that coaches noticed right away. He had heart. He played with full energy. He refused to give up, even when he was tired, even when the other players were stronger. That spirit made him different. Dwayne began to train harder than ever before. While other kids relaxed after school, he pushed his body. He ran, he lifted weights, he practiced again and again. He understood that talent alone was not enough. Discipline was the real secret. Each drop of sweat was an investment in his dream. Slowly, people started to see his potential. His coaches saw a young man who could become great if he continued to work. His teammates respected his effort. On the field, he became a leader, not because he spoke the loudest, but because he showed the most dedication. Football also gave Dwayne something more than strength. It gave him direction. For many years, he had felt lost, moving from school to school, never finding his place. But now, on the football field, he found a home. The game gave him purpose. It gave him a chance to believe that maybe he could build a better future. He thought about his family often. He wanted to make his parents proud. He wanted to give them the life they had never known. Each time he trained, he carried that promise in his heart. One day, he would succeed, and football would help him get there. But success did not come without struggle. There were days when his body ached. There were mornings when he felt too tired to train. There were games when his team lost, and he felt broken inside. Still, he refused to stop. He remembered the lessons of his school days. That real strength was not in winning every time, but in refusing to quit. This was the power of sports for Dwayne. It was more than a game. It was a teacher. Football taught him discipline. It taught him teamwork. It taught him to respect others and to respect himself. It showed him that life was like the field. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, but you always keep playing. Little by little, his hard work opened doors. Coaches began to speak of his future. They said he could go far if he stayed focused. For the first time, Dwayne saw a clear path. Maybe football could be the key to college. Maybe it could be the key to success. Maybe it could be the answer to his childhood dream. The boy who once felt lost in the classroom now felt strong on the field. The boy who had once gotten into trouble now found discipline in training. The boy who had once doubted himself now believed that his life could change. And this is the lesson his story gives to us. Sometimes we must find our passion, the thing that gives us energy and hope. For Dwayne, it was football. For you, it may be something else. Music, art, study, work. The important thing is to find it, to give it your heart, and to let it guide you. Sports gave Dwayne direction when life gave him confusion. Sports gave him strength when life made him feel weak. Sports gave him hope when the world seemed hopeless. And step by step, it prepared him for the bigger battles of his life. This was only the beginning. The boy with big dreams had found his first real path. But the road ahead would not be smooth. Football gave him hope, but it also brought him his next big test. In the next chapter, you will see how Dwayne faced a deep disappointment, one that could have broken his spirit, but instead taught him the meaning of true resilience. A big disappointment. Dwayne's love for football grew stronger each year. He believed that this game could change his life. He trained harder than anyone else. He listened to his coaches. He gave everything he had on the field. His dream was clear. One day, he would become a professional football player. He wanted to show the world his strength. He wanted to give his family the life they deserved. After high school, his talent earned him a place at the University of Miami, a school famous for its football team. Here, Dwayne trained with some of the best young athletes in the country. He worked hard every day, and he was proud to wear the team's uniform. On that field, he felt one step closer to his dream. But the road was not easy. Injuries slowed him down. Other players were stronger, faster, or more skilled. Sometimes Dwayne sat on the bench, waiting for his chance to play. Each time he watched others on the field, his heart burned with frustration. Still, he refused to quit. He told himself, "My time will come. I must keep going." After college, he finally got his chance. A team in Canada invited him to play professional football. This was the moment he had dreamed of since he was a child. With hope in his heart, he packed his bags and traveled north. He thought, "This is it. This is the start of my future." But reality was harder than he expected. Life in Canada was cold, and not only because of the weather. The games were tough, and the competition was strong. Dwayne gave his best, but he struggled to prove himself. The coaches were not impressed. The dream that had carried him for so many years began to slip away. One day, the team told him the words he feared most. They no longer needed him. Just like that, his dream was gone. Dwayne Johnson, the boy who promised himself he would become a star, was cut from the team. The news broke his heart. He had worked for years. He had sacrificed so much. And now he was left with nothing. He was far from home, without money, without success, and without direction. At only 23 years old, he felt like a failure. For weeks he lived in sadness. He did not know what to do. His dream of professional football was over. He had no job, no career, and only $7 left in his pocket. That number, $7, stayed in his mind. It was proof of how low he had fallen. But here is what makes this moment powerful. In the middle of his pain, Dwayne discovered something important. Failure is not the end. It is the beginning of something new. The dream he had for football was gone, but life was giving him another chance, if he was brave enough to see it. He realized that football was only one path. If that path was closed, maybe another path was waiting. He remembered the promise he made as a child, to become strong, to succeed, to take care of his family. That promise was still alive. He still had his heart, his strength, and his determination. In those dark days, Dwayne began to think about what else he could do. He could stay broken, or he could rise again. Slowly, he chose to rise. Slowly, he chose to fight again. This chapter of his life teaches us a clear lesson. Even when you give everything, even when you work hard, life may not go as you plan. You may face failure. You may feel lost. You may even feel like giving up. But failure is not forever. Failure is a teacher. It shows you what is not your path, and it pushes you to find the right one. Dwayne Johnson's football dream ended in Canada. But his story did not end there. In fact, it was only beginning. The boy who once dreamed of being a football star was about to find a new dream, one even bigger than he could imagine. In the next chapter, you will see how Dwayne turned his pain into power. You will see how he stepped into the world of wrestling, following the footsteps of his father, and how a new journey began. A new chance in wrestling. After the dream of football ended, Dwayne felt broken. He had no money, no job, and no clear future. He thought about all the years he had worked, all the hours of training, all the pain, and all the hope. Now it was gone. He was back at the bottom, with nothing but his promise to himself. But sometimes, when one door closes, another door opens. For Dwayne, that door was wrestling. Wrestling was in his blood. His father, Rocky Johnson, had been a famous wrestler. His grandfather had also been a wrestler. Dwayne grew up watching his father perform in the ring. He remembered the crowds, the cheers, the power, and the respect. As a boy, he looked at his father with wide eyes and thought, "One day, maybe I can be like him." Now, after losing football, he began to think again about that dream. At first, he was not sure. He knew wrestling was not easy. The training was hard. The life was tough, and the world already had many strong wrestlers. Who was he to believe he could stand among them? Still, he felt something inside. Wrestling could be his new chance. Wrestling could be his way to rise again. Dwayne spoke to his father about his idea. At first, his father did not want him to do it. He knew how hard the life of a wrestler could be. He knew about the injuries, the travel, the pressure, and the long road to success. He wanted his son to have an easier life. But Dwayne's mind was clear. He had already lost one dream. He was not ready to live without another. So he made his decision. He would try. He would step into the same world as his father and grandfather. He would give everything to wrestling. He promised himself that he would not stop until he succeeded. The training began. Dwayne worked harder than ever before. His body was strong from years of football, but wrestling needed more. It needed speed, balance, and showmanship. He had to learn new moves, new skills, and a whole new way of using his strength. Every day he pushed himself. He lifted weights, practiced holds, studied his father's style, and trained until his muscles screamed. It was not only physical. Wrestling also needed personality. A wrestler was not just an athlete. He was also an entertainer. He had to connect with the crowd, to make them cheer or make them boo. At first, Dwayne felt shy, but little by little, he learned to bring his energy to the stage. He learned to speak with power, to move with confidence, and to perform with heart. The first matches were small. He wrestled in front of tiny crowds. The pay was little. The lights were not bright. But Dwayne did not care. For him, it was a beginning. Each match was a chance to grow. Each cheer, even from a small crowd, was proof that he was on the right path. Still, the road was not easy. He faced injuries. He faced criticism. Some people said he would never be as great as his father. Others said he should give up and try something else. But Dwayne remembered his promise as a boy. He remembered his mother's tears and his family's struggles. And he told himself again and again, I will not quit. I will fight until I win. Day by day, step by step, he grew stronger. The boy who once lost his dream of football was now building a new dream in the wrestling ring. The world did not know it yet, but a star was being born. This chapter of his life teaches us something important. Sometimes the first dream does not work. Sometimes life says no, but that does not mean you stop dreaming. It means you must look for another path. Dwayne could have stayed broken. He could have said, my chance is over. But instead he chose to rise again. He chose to fight again. He chose a new dream. The story of Dwayne entering wrestling shows us that success is not about never falling. It is about rising each time you fall, even if the new path looks different from the old one. In the next chapter, we will see how Dwayne took on a new name, The Rock, and how this name changed his life forever. Becoming The Rock. Dwayne's hard work in wrestling began to pay off. The long days of training, the painful injuries, and the endless small matches slowly built his skills. He was no longer just the son of a wrestler. He was now a wrestler himself. But to truly stand out, he needed more than strength. He needed an identity, a name, a character that people would remember. That name would become The Rock. At first, Dwayne entered the ring using the name Rocky Maivia, a mix of his father's and grandfather's names. It was meant to honor his family's history in wrestling. He was proud to carry their legacy, but something was missing. The crowd did not connect with him. They cheered politely, but they did not feel excited. Some even booed, thinking he was just another wrestler who would disappear quickly. Dwayne felt the pressure. He wanted to succeed, but he knew he needed something more powerful, something unique. He wanted a name that was strong, simple, and unforgettable. Slowly, the idea of The Rock began to take shape. It was short, tough, and full of power. A rock is solid, unbreakable, and eternal. That was exactly how Dwayne wanted to be seen. When he finally stepped into the ring as The Rock, everything changed. His voice was louder, his movements were stronger, his energy filled the arena. Fans could feel his confidence. He was no longer just trying to honor the past. He was building his own future. The Rock quickly became famous in the WWE. He created a personality that fans loved. He was bold, funny, and full of energy. He made jokes, raised his eyebrow in a way no one could forget, and spoke with a voice that echoed through the stadium. Every word he said felt powerful. When he told the crowd, "Know your role and shut your mouth," they shouted back with excitement. When he said, "Can you smell what The Rock is cooking?" millions of fans around the world knew exactly what he meant: victory, strength, and entertainment. In the ring, The Rock was more than a fighter. He was a performer. He gave everything to every match. He fought with fire, moved with speed, and showed his strength with every slam and every punch. But he also gave the crowd something extra. He gave them a show. He made them laugh, made them shout, and made them feel part of something special. The fans loved him. Children wanted to be like him. Adults respected his strength. Whole families gathered to watch him on TV. Every time he entered the arena, people jumped to their feet. His presence was electric, like a storm filling the room. In a short time, The Rock became one of the biggest stars in wrestling history. But behind the fame, Dwayne never forgot how hard the journey had been. He remembered the days when he had only $7 in his pocket. He remembered losing football, feeling broken, and nearly giving up. Now, as The Rock, he stood in front of millions of people, living a dream he once thought was impossible. This gave him even more power. He wanted to show others that they, too, could rise from nothing. The Rock's rise in WWE was not only about winning matches, it was about inspiring people. His story showed that even when life pushes you down, you can stand up again. You can take the pain, turn it into energy, and create a new future. That is why millions of fans connected with him. They saw not just a wrestler, but a fighter who had lived through real struggle and turned it into strength. As his fame grew, so did his opportunities. The Rock was no longer just a wrestler. He was becoming a global superstar. But his heart remained the same, strong, grateful, and full of determination. He knew this was just the beginning. Wrestling had given him a name, but his journey was far from over. This chapter of Dwayne's life reminds us that sometimes success comes when you step fully into who you are. When he became The Rock, he accepted his power, his voice, and his uniqueness. He stopped trying to please everyone and started being himself. That confidence made him unstoppable. The boy from a poor family had now become a man loved by millions. The Rock was not just a name, it was a symbol of strength, resilience, and the power to rise again. In the next chapter, we will see how this success in wrestling opened the doors to Hollywood, where Dwayne began another incredible chapter in his life. From ring to screen. The Rock was already a superstar in wrestling. He had millions of fans, fame, and respect. But deep inside, Dwayne Johnson felt another dream calling him. He loved wrestling, but he also wanted to try something new. He wanted to tell stories, play characters, and inspire people on the big screen. Hollywood was waiting, and Dwayne decided he was ready to take the risk. It was not an easy choice. Many wrestlers before him had tried to act, but most of them failed. People laughed when they heard The Rock wanted to be an actor. Some critics said, "He is just a wrestler, he cannot act." Others thought he was too big, too strong, and too different to fit into Hollywood. But Dwayne remembered his old lessons. He remembered the pain of losing football, the hunger of having no money, and the discipline of training for wrestling. Those moments had taught him one important rule: never stop dreaming bigger. His first chance came when he was asked to play a small role in The Mummy Returns in 2001. Dwayne accepted it with excitement. He had no big lines, and the role was short, but it was the start of something new. He gave it his best. His energy and presence were so strong that people noticed him, even in a small role. That small step opened a bigger door. His first main role in The Scorpion King. When The Scorpion King came out, it was a turning point. Dwayne became one of the highest-paid first-time leading actors in Hollywood history. But the road was not smooth. Many people still doubted him. They said he was lucky, that he would not last long. Some movies he made did not succeed. There were times when critics were harsh, calling him just a wrestler trying to act. Those words hurt, but Dwayne did not stop. He knew success never comes without struggle. He worked harder than ever. He took acting lessons, studied scripts, and trained his voice. He wanted to prove he was not only strong in the ring, but also strong on the screen. He brought the same discipline from wrestling into acting. Day by day, film by film, he grew better. He tried different roles, action, comedy, adventure, and showed that he could do more than people expected. At first, Hollywood saw him as only an action hero, the big guy who could fight. But Dwayne wanted more. He showed his funny side in movies like The Game Plan. Families laughed with him, children loved him, and parents respected him. Slowly, the world began to see him not just as The Rock, but as Dwayne Johnson, the actor. Still, the doubts did not disappear overnight. For years, he worked to prove himself again and again. Many nights he felt tired, but he remembered his promise to himself. Never give up. Never stop growing. Every time someone said, "You can't," he turned it into fuel to say, "Yes, I can." The move from the wrestling ring to Hollywood was more than just a career change. It was a lesson in courage. Dwayne could have stayed in wrestling forever, safe and famous. But he dared to dream bigger. He risked failure. He faced doubt. And he kept moving forward. This story teaches us that growth often means leaving your comfort zone. Dwayne had to start again at the bottom. He had to prove himself in a new world. Many people will doubt you when you chase something new. They will say you are not ready or you are not good enough. But like Dwayne, You can keep going, keep learning, and keep believing. From the ring to the screen, Dwayne showed the world that limits are only in the mind. What began as doubt slowly turned into respect. What started as a small role became the start of one of the biggest careers in Hollywood. The boy who once had nothing now stood under the bright lights of Hollywood, not just as The Rock, but as Dwayne Johnson, the actor, the dreamer, and the fighter who never gave up. And this was only the beginning of his new chapter. Next, we will see how Dwayne Johnson became more than an actor. He became a symbol of hard work, discipline, and inspiration for millions around the globe. Hard work in Hollywood. Dwayne Johnson knew that Hollywood was not easy. Many actors came and went. Many had talent, but not all succeeded. Dwayne understood one thing clearly. He had to work harder than anyone else. Talent alone was not enough. Discipline, effort, and persistence were the keys to success. Every morning, Dwayne woke up very early. Before the sun rose, he trained his body. Hours of lifting, running, and exercises became his routine. Even after wrestling years, he pushed himself to reach new limits. He believed that a strong body would help him stay confident and prepared for any role. But strength alone was not enough. Acting required more. Dwayne studied scripts carefully. He practiced lines over and over. He listened to advice from experienced actors. He watched movies to learn how great actors moved, spoke, and expressed emotion. Each day he improved, learning slowly but steadily. At first, the roles were small. Some movies he acted in did not succeed. Critics were sometimes harsh. People said, "He is only a wrestler. He cannot act." But Dwayne did not let these words stop him. Instead, he used them as motivation. Every failure became a lesson. Every mistake taught him something new. Dwayne also learned something very important about preparation. He understood that an actor must be ready for anything. Some roles required action, some required comedy, some required emotion. He trained his body, but also his mind. He learned to change quickly between characters. One day, he could be a hero fighting villains. The next day, he could be a father, a friend, or a funny man. Slowly, the work began to pay off. People noticed his energy, his determination, and his talent. The audience loved his movies. They loved his strength, his smile, and his humor. Dwayne Johnson was no longer only The Rock from wrestling. He was Dwayne Johnson, the actor. He became a role model for hard work, showing that success comes to those who never stop learning. Even when success started to appear, he did not stop. He continued to take many roles, sometimes working on multiple movies at the same time. He traveled around the world, learning about different cultures, meeting new people, and discovering new opportunities. Each new role was a challenge, but he faced it with courage. Dwayne often said that his life in Hollywood reminded him of his early struggles. Just like when he trained for football or wrestling, he needed patience. Just like when he failed in Canada, he needed resilience. Hollywood was another challenge, and he faced it the same way, with hard work, determination, and a strong heart. This journey teaches an important lesson. Success does not come overnight. It is built day by day, moment by moment. Dwayne did not become a star by luck. He became a star because he worked harder than anyone else, learned from every mistake, and never stopped trying. He kept improving, even when others doubted him. His story also shows the power of belief. Even when critics said he could not act, he believed in himself. Even when movies failed, he believed in his potential. He never let fear or doubt control his actions. He understood that if he gave up, he would never reach his dream. Today, Dwayne Johnson is one of the biggest stars in Hollywood. Millions of people know him, respect him, and love him. But he remembers every step of the journey, the early mornings, the hard training, the failures, and the lessons. He knows that his success is the result of hard work, patience, and courage. The boy who once had nothing, who lost his dream of football, who struggled in school, and who worked through wrestling, now shines on the world stage. His story shows that no matter how many challenges life gives you, hard work and persistence can turn your dreams into reality. In the next chapter, we will see how Dwayne Johnson used his fame not only to act, but also to inspire millions around the world. He became more than a star. He became a symbol of positivity, courage, and hope. The power of positivity. Dwayne Johnson had become a star in wrestling and Hollywood, but he knew that fame was not enough. True success, he realized, was about more than money or movies. It was about the impact you have on others. He wanted to inspire people, to show them that they could overcome challenges and reach their dreams, just like he had. Dwayne began to share his life story openly. He talked about his childhood, the struggles of his family, the times he had no money, and the failures he faced in football and wrestling. He spoke honestly about the mistakes he had made and the lessons he had learned. People listened carefully. They saw not just a strong man, but a human being who had worked hard to rise from nothing. He also shared the lessons of discipline. Dwayne explained how he trained every day, not only to build his body, but also to build his mind and spirit. He told people that discipline was about creating routines, pushing through challenges, and staying focused on goals. He said, "Discipline is what turns dreams into reality." Millions of fans understood this message and began to apply it in their own lives. Respect was another lesson he taught. Dwayne always remembered the people who helped him on his journey. His mother, his father, his teachers, and his coaches. He never forgot their guidance and support. He told his fans that respecting others, listening to advice, and showing gratitude were keys to success. Respect, he said, opens doors and builds strong relationships. Kindness was also important in his message. Even after becoming a superstar, Dwayne helped people whenever he could. He visited children in hospitals, supported charities, and encouraged young athletes. He explained that being kind does not make you weak. It makes you strong. Kindness, he said, spreads positivity and creates a ripple effect that can change the world. As he shared his story, people began to believe in themselves. They saw a man who had faced failure, pain, and doubt, but who never gave up. They saw a boy who once had only $7 in his pocket, who worked hard in school, trained for sports, and built a career step by step. If he could rise, they thought, then they could rise too. Dwayne also spoke about the power of positivity in daily life. He explained that your attitude shapes your world. When he faced rejection in Canada, he could have been negative and stopped trying. But he chose to stay positive, to focus on what he could control, and to find the next opportunity. That mindset changed his life and inspired millions around the world. He often told people, believe in yourself, work hard, respect others, be kind, never stop dreaming. These simple words became his philosophy. They were easy to understand, but they carried deep meaning. People who listened felt encouraged to take action in their own lives, to face challenges with courage, and to keep moving forward no matter how hard life seemed. Dwayne's message reached beyond movies and wrestling. Schools invited him to speak. Television shows wanted him to share his story. Social media made it possible for millions of people to hear his words every day. From children to adults, people felt motivated to dream bigger and work harder. His influence was not just entertainment, it was education and inspiration. Through positivity, Dwayne became more than a star. He became a role model. He showed that success is not just about what you achieve for yourself, but also about what you give to others. His story reminded everyone that life will have challenges, but challenges can be overcome with hope, effort, and a positive mindset. The boy who once struggled in school, who failed in football, and who trained endlessly in wrestling, had now become a teacher of life. He proved that discipline, respect, and kindness could lead to success and happiness. And he reminded the world that each person has the power to change their life if they choose positivity over despair. In the next chapter, we will see how Dwayne Johnson built his ultimate dream, balancing success, family, and inspiration, showing the full power of determination and heart. A global icon, Dwayne Johnson's journey from a poor boy to a world star is a story of courage, hard work, and determination. He started life with very little. His family moved many times. Sometimes they had no money. He faced challenges in school, failed in football, and struggled to find his path. Yet, he never gave up. That determination shaped the man he became. After wrestling, Dwayne took a bold step into Hollywood. Many doubted him. Critics said he would fail, but he worked harder than anyone. He trained, learned acting, and accepted every role as a lesson. Slowly, people saw his talent and energy. He became one of the biggest stars in the world, loved by millions for his strength, humor, and positivity. But Dwayne did not stop at acting. He became a businessman, building companies, producing films, and inspiring people with his work ethic. He used his fame not only to succeed, but also to help others. He supported charities, encouraged young people, and shared his story to show that hard work and dreams can change lives. What makes Dwayne's story powerful is that it is real. He did not have an easy life. Every step of success came after struggle. Every victory came after failure. He faced pain, doubt, and disappointment, but he never let those moments define him. Instead, he turned challenges into lessons, lessons into action, and action into success. Millions of people around the world now see him as a role model. They admire his discipline, his respect for others, and his kindness. They see a man who not only builds his own dreams, but also inspires others to build theirs. He teaches that greatness is not about being born lucky. It is about learning, trying, failing, and rising again. Dwayne's life shows that success is not a single event. It is a journey. It starts with a dream, grows with hard work, and flourishes when you refuse to quit. The boy who had $7 in his pocket, who struggled in school, who lost at football, and trained for wrestling, now stands on stages, movie sets, and arenas worldwide. He reminds us that no matter where you start, you can reach incredible heights. His story also teaches the importance of balance. Dwayne values family, friends, and gratitude. He shows that even when you are famous, it is important to stay humble, to remember your roots, and to use your power to do good. Strength is not only physical, it is in your heart, your mind, and your actions toward others. For anyone watching his story, the message is simple but powerful. Never give up. Life will give you challenges, failures, and moments of doubt. You may feel weak, lost, or alone. But like Dwayne, you can choose to rise. You can choose to work hard, to learn, and to keep moving forward. Your dreams are bigger than any problem. Dwayne's story also shows the power of positivity. He believes in himself and encourages others to believe in themselves. When he shares his journey, he tells people that discipline, respect, kindness, and effort are the keys to success. These are simple words, but when followed every day, they create extraordinary results. The boy from a struggling family in America is now a global icon. He is an actor, a businessman, a wrestler, and most importantly, a role model. Millions of fans around the world watch his movies, follow his life, and learn from his example. His life is proof that anyone, no matter their background, can achieve greatness with courage, hard work, and belief in themselves. And this is the lesson for you. Take your dreams seriously. Work every day to improve, even when it is hard. Learn from failure. Respect others. Be kind. And never give up. One day, your story can inspire the world, just like Dwayne Johnson's story inspires millions. Your journey may be challenging, but remember, every step forward is progress. Every struggle is a lesson. And every time you rise, you grow stronger. Follow your dream, work hard, stay positive, and one day you can become a star in your own life. What an incredible journey. From a boy with nothing to a global superstar, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's life shows us one thing clearly. Never give up, always work hard, and believe in yourself. Every challenge he faced, every failure he experienced, taught him something important, and now it can teach you too. If you enjoyed this story, remember, you can take the same lessons into your life. Hard work, positivity, discipline, and kindness are not just words. They are actions that can change your future. Just like Dwayne, you can turn struggles into success, doubts into confidence, and dreams into reality. By following along with this story, you also practiced your English. You improved your listening, vocabulary, and understanding in simple A1 to A2 English. Keep repeating, reading, and shadowing the words. The more you practice, the stronger your English will become, and the more inspired you will feel to reach your own goals. If you loved this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Read and Learn English for more motivational stories that help you learn English and grow in life. Hit the bell so you never miss a new story. And remember, your journey is just beginning. Every step you take today brings you closer to your dreams. Keep believing, keep working, and one day, your story can inspire the world, just like Dwayne Johnson's story inspires millions.